What a wonderful world.
Hi everyone, my name is Mridul and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a girl talk video. I've actually wanted to do this for a really long time, but I never really got around to doing it. Finally, I'm here, I'm doing it. I posted a post on my Instagram and on my YouTube for you guys to ask me your questions because you guys address me as like the, and I wanted to be the older sister that you never had and help you kind of maneuver through your puberty and your years where you're like figuring things out. So I hope this video really helps you out. I might be talking about topics that are controversial, but there's nothing controversial about it. I'm just talking about regular stuff that honestly should be spoken about in your schools, but I know most schools don't talk about such stuff and most schools don't offer you like sex education, which is so required. By the way, I do want to clear it out right here that I'm not an expert, I'm not a gynac. I'm just sharing all the information that I have learned over the years with you guys. So having said all of that, let's just get started with today's video. Even before we get started, if you're a creepy boy, you probably want to exit. If you're a boy who just wants to like learn about maybe the female body, you can stay, that's not a problem, but just don't be creepy in the comments down below. Okay, so I actually got a bunch of questions regarding periods, so I think let's start with that. So I have my laptop right here and I'm just going to be reading your questions. So the first one was, how old were you when you got your period? So I got my period when I was 12. I'm pretty sure it was 12. It could be 13. But yeah, it was somewhere between 12 and 13. If you're 12 or 13 and if you haven't gotten your periods yet, there's nothing to worry about. Everyone gets their period at different timings. I remember my mom told me that she got her period when she was 17. So it's all right. Don't be stressed out about it. But I personally was 12 when I got it. Let's talk about period rashes. So someone asked me, how do you take care of the rashes and irritation caused in the intimate area due to pads? So I am a pad wearer. I don't use tampons or a diva cup, nothing like that. I stick to my pads. So I actually used to struggle with period rashes really badly. Like every time I would get my periods खत्म होंगे उसके next week मुझे हमेशा rashes रहते थे and it was so miserable. It's very uncomfortable. But I think after I've switched to pads that are meant to not give you a rash, the problem has been solved. So I've been using the Nua pads ever since. I used to use the Whisper pads before this and they do actually give me a rash. It's a hit or a miss. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But now I just don't like to take a risk. So I just stick to my Nua pads. They're a lot more environmentally friendly as compared to the Whisper ones. So that's number one. Other than that, if you already have a rash, what I would recommend doing is first of all use Kailash Jeevan. You know the blue dibbi jo aata hai. I do want to take a step back and say that I'm not a doctor. This is just something that I've personally used and it has worked for me. So yeah, as I was saying, I just take the Kailash Jeevan, the cream, and I apply it wherever I've gotten a rash. And honestly, that does the trick for me. Of course, you want to avoid itching and also every time you pee, make sure to dry that area properly. You don't want it to be wet and like humid. So yeah, those are some of my tips for period rashes. This is actually really interesting. Using sanitary pads, can you swim during periods? Okay, so this was actually my life when I was young. I'm talking about like right after I hit puberty and I got my periods. So every summer vacation I would go to my cousin's place and we would go to the pool every single day, like literally every single day. And मेरा luck इतना खराब होता था, मुझे हमेशा periods आते थे जब हम, you know, whenever I would go to stay over. And I love to swim. There was no way I was giving up swimming because I had my period. So someone told me, I think my dad, I'm pretty sure my dad told me when I was young ki you can go to swim because once you enter the pool, your flow is gonna stop because that's just how gravity works, I guess. And it's true, you actually will not bleed when you're swimming. There's nothing to be like grossed out or ashamed about going to swim when you're on your period. Probably just avoid wearing a pad and probably avoid going on your first day because obviously you're going to be like bleeding really heavily. So after you're done swimming, सब खून साथ में निकलेगा. I know this is so TMI, but it's the truth. Like if you're going to be swimming for an hour, all of that blood which couldn't be shed earlier will shed all at once. At least that's what happens with me personally. So yeah, you can go swimming when you're on your period, but don't wear a pad to the pool. So surprisingly, I've actually gotten quite a lot of questions regarding staining during your periods. Honestly, there's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about it. I know when I was young, I used to stain a lot because I was just figuring out how to wear a pad and how to kind of conduct myself when I'm on a period. And obviously with age you learn how to do that. To be honest, even till now there are some times when I will stain if मैंने pad properly नहीं लगाया या due to my sleeping position, whatever it is. But if you want some tips, I'll give you some tips. If you don't have like an extra large pad, like there is one pad that comes Whisper का जो काफी बड़ा होता है, like it's huge. It will cover your entire panty, like from the beginning till the end. And that is what I actually used to use every single time on my first day. Like my full first day, I would wear those big pads. So if you are someone who bleeds a lot like me, that is definitely something you can try. But if you don't have that, that's okay. You can take 2 pads and you can kind of layer them to kind of mimic that same look. So take 2 pads, एक starting में लगा दो और एक end में लगा दो. So you basically will not stain. And I would actually do that when I was going to college on my first day because the बड़ा मोटा वाला pad looks very bulky and it looks like you're wearing a diaper straight up. So if you don't want to look like you're wearing a diaper, you can do the 2 pad wala trick and that is quite foolproof, to be honest. Okay, let's talk about hair removal quickly. I'm talking about like the pubic area, the vagina. First of all, it's your wish if you want to groom it, if you want to trim it, if you want to shave it, wax it, whatever. It isn't a compulsion. So personally for me, I've never gotten a bikini wax because I've heard such horror stories regarding that. I'm just like too fattu to get it done and I don't think I'm actually ever gonna get it done, but of course never say never. But till now I shave and I trim. So a few years ago I used to actually think that the best way to keep your vagina healthy and clean is to completely shave it off and keep it like super hairless, which was like a myth that was busted by my gynac. So my gynac told me that actually the reason why your hair grows there is in order to protect that area. So according to her, you must trim it and never completely shave it off. Now that is again completely up to you. Do what you want to do with this information. If you feel like you want to completely shave it off, of course that's up to you. Or if you want to trim it, that's up to you as well. So yeah, that was a small piece of information I wanted to share with you guys. Another really popular question was about how to maintain hygiene and how to smell good down there. So I personally believe that your vagina is self-cleaning. So I personally don't use any sort of cleanser or the pH balancing lotions and creams jo aate hai, for you to use. Even the body washes, I actually use nothing. I literally just, when I'm taking a bath, I'll just use water and I'll use my fingers to clean the area. And as I mentioned, your vagina is self-cleaning, so you don't really need anything. That's what my mom told me as well. When I was actually younger, I think when I was in like 7th or 8th, तभी V-wash बहुत famous हो गया था and I really wanted to know what it was. I was really young, I just hit puberty and I was curious. So I went to a chemist and I bought it and I started using it and actually it messed my pH up. I had to go see a gynac and ever since I've avoided using all of that. Having said that, I do know if you do end up getting say a yeast infection or a bacterial infection, a UTI, whatever, if you go to a gynac, they might recommend you a certain wash to clean that area, but that is because your vagina needs it at that point of time. So obviously if your gynac suggests that you should use some sort of wash, of course go ahead. I'm not a gynac, but I'm just sharing something that I do. I use absolutely nothing and it's worked out pretty well for me so far. Another thing that I do want to mention when it comes to smelling good and just the hygiene overall is every time I go to pee, I wash myself with water. Surprisingly, that is something that a lot of girls don't do, which is fine. I'm not judging anyone who doesn't do that, but I just think it just cleans that area. And also one more very important thing to remember is after you're done washing, you must pat it down dry. You don't want to put on your underwear or your pants jab pura area gila ho, because you're kind of creating humidity and and almost like a breeding ground for bacteria because of the humidity, as I mentioned. So make sure after you're done washing, you wipe it properly either with toilet paper or a washcloth, whatever it is. And another thing is that I only wear cotton underwear. I don't wear satin or polyester. Oh my god, big no to polyester, because cotton will absorb all the sweat and it'll keep your vagina like nicely ventilated. And when there's sweat build up, that's when it's gonna start smelling weird. So yeah, that's another tip for sure. Of course, other than that, just basic things like drink like 2 liters of water every single day, eat your vegetables, eat your fruits. Obviously, if you're healthy, your vagina is also going to be healthy. Now, in spite of doing all of this, if you do end up, say, smelling really funky, if you get a really weird smell, or say you have irritation and itchiness, or even a discharge, a weird color discharge, you must go see your gynec for sure. Do not sit there Googling on your phone ki what's wrong with me, because Google will tell you the worst case scenario and it's going to freak you out. So don't do that. Just go see your gynec. There's nothing to be ashamed about going to a gynec. I used to actually be really like weird about going to a gynec. Like I would of course tell my mom ki look, this is happening, and she would be like, let's go to the gynec. And yeah, that's honestly the best solution because they're experts. They're going to help you out. Okay, how do you take care of your sensitive parts like your underarms, vagina, breasts? Okay, so I've already talked about the vagina. About the underarms, I mean, it's very basic. I like to keep my underarms hairless. I feel like जब बाल नहीं होते हैं तब smell भी कम आता है. Other than that, obviously take a bath every single day. But I personally don't use underarms. I mean, I don't use deodorant, sorry. Use a perfume, obviously. I think if I had to give one tip for your underarms is to at least scrub them once a week just to get rid of all the buildup, and if there's like a smell and dead skin building up, it's gonna like nicely cleanse it. That is definitely one thing. Other than that, I don't have any like great tips when it comes to your underarms. Also, use a face pack. That's another thing that I do. I use like a nice charcoal based face pack once a week. Okay, next is what kind of panties should we wear under different types of bottoms. I just wear one type of panty, which is like a hipster cut cotton underwear, either from Zivame or from H&M. Those are like my top two because they're very like comfortable, loose cotton, as I mentioned earlier. Honestly, that is all I wear under everything, to be very honest. But if you are going to be wearing like say some like super tight bodycon dresses or leggings even, you can go ahead and buy a thong. I do think there are cotton thongs available, so maybe you could get that because then you can avoid the panty line. Yeah, I think those are the only two kinds of underwears that I own. How old were you when your parents gave you the top? So I think I was 10 or 11 when they spoke to me regarding my period. So my dad actually gave me the talk regarding the periods, and he was very like scientific about it. He told me about the ovaries and the sperm and ovulation and the whole jazz about the egg, all of that. But thankfully in my school, they taught us everything. Like it was so clear, everything made perfect sense, and yeah, that's where I got my sex education from, I guess. Should you sleep with a bra on? In my opinion, absolutely not, because why would you? It's so uncomfortable. I feel like once I'm home, my bra is most definitely off. I wear my bra for support and obviously for coverage also. But once I'm home and once I'm in the comforts of my home, there's absolutely no way I'm wearing a bra. And especially not when I'm going to sleep. This is again very shocking for me because I do remember when I was in college, junior college especially, there were girls who would tell me that they would go to sleep with a bra on because they thought that it would make their boobs perkier, and if you don't sleep with a bra on, it would make your boobs saggy, which is not true, by the way. Just busting your myths right there. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. It's just more comfortable to remove your bra when you go to sleep, because if you wear a bra with an underwire especially, it's going to compress your muscles, and apparently it also kind of has an impact on your nervous system and obviously blood circulation. So it's okay to wear it during the day when you're outside, but I wouldn't recommend sleeping with a bra on, especially at night. Actually, having said that, I personally don't wear an underwear when I go to sleep also at night, because it's just nice to like ventilate that area for once, because you're going to be wearing your underwear throughout the day, right? So when you're sleeping at night, whatever like pants that you're wearing, pants, shorts, whatever, uske andar you could avoid wearing an underwear. Of course, it's your personal choice, but I'm just telling you what I do. So I actually do have quite a few questions regarding like protection and birth control. So I'm going to try to answer these questions to the best of my ability. Most of it comes from school. जो textbooks में सिखाते थे वो हिसाब से I'm gonna answer your questions. Have you ever been on birth control? What are your views or suggestions on using them? So I've actually never been on birth control. I've actually never even had a chat regarding this with my gynac, so I don't have much information regarding these. I'm talking about my views. I don't really have views on them. If you want to get on birth control, you get on birth control. Of course, look up the side effects, the pros and the cons. Obviously, that's something that you want to take into consideration. Do condoms give 100% protection, or is there any probability of getting pregnant? So from what I understand and from what I remember, there is no contraceptive method which is 100% foolproof other than abstinence. These were the exact words that my biology teacher told me, and I still remember it. When it comes to condoms, male condoms, I believe, are 98% effective. Let me actually Google it and get my facts straight. Yes, 98% are effective, which means 2 out of 100 people will become pregnant in 1 year using male condoms. So obviously consult your gynac for all the contraceptive measures and methods that you could potentially like use. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so let's talk about discharge from your vagina. So discharge is actually quite normal. The fluid that comes out is actually quite normal because it's supposed to clean the inner linings of your vagina. Other than that, it's supposed to lubricate it and also protect it. So it's okay to like have a discharge. But having said that, if you get a really out of the ordinary smell from your discharge, ya fir you are getting irritation and itching around and near your vagina, or even the color of the discharge is very important. So if something is fishy, if something seems out of the ordinary, you probably need to go see a gynac. It might be a UTI, it might be a bacterial infection, it might be a yeast infection. That is something that only a gynac can treat. I remember when I was younger and I would get UTIs all the time from using like toilets in my school and just in general, and I was actually really prone to UTIs, and I would always Google, and cranberry was like the solution to UTIs, which is not true. I would actually drink cranberry juice and it would do really nothing, which is why you just need to go see a gynac. I feel like the problem to all like female, the solution to all female problems is to go see a gynac because they know everything. I think guys, that's it for today's video. I've covered quite a lot of topics and I hope this was informational. I've tried to do the best that I can. I'm 23 years old and I've tried to like give all the information that I've learned in these 23 years to you guys. If you guys want me to do like keep doing this like girl talk series, do let me know. We could cover more topics because there are so many questions that you guys have asked me. I don't think I've even covered half of them, so I would honestly love to do a part 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and actually let's chat in the comments down below. Let me know what are your thoughts on the things that I talked about in today's video. And I think that's basically about it. Subscribe to my channel and also give this video a like if you liked the video. Follow me on my Instagram, follow Simba Lifestyle, follow Skion, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye.